the spur controls everything. The conversation is dominated by the spur. Over the next 2 hours or however long they stay sober, you will lose intelligence. Enjoy Theta Thursday. Your hosts, Dawn and Rhea, Maffoon, and some shitty guests.
Today was not a good day.
Was today not a good day, Brisk? Because now we are live this week with Theta Thursday.
Hi, guys. Let me grab a beer real quick. You do the start of the show, and then I'll be right back.
Oh, Brisk, you don't have a beer by your desk already? Oh.
This is the time when I'm prepping for Rampage, so I go get my beer now. I'll be right back.
Come on, you gotta have the mini fridge, you know?
This should be pretty interesting tonight. We've got some prognostication to do about what the hell that they're going to talk about tomorrow in their announcement of the blog, the dev blog. That what are they now? I don't understand.
So what they did is they started the new quadrant this week. They said, hey,
oh, that's right. This is the one that they named after Dawn, right?
This is the one they named after Dawn, right? And then they were like,
so the rule is that since it's named after me, everything's my fault. So I'm not going to shirk away from it. Everything in this patch, even though I have no impact, is my fault.
Now, having said that, Don, if it's a really good patch, you're going to be taking credit for that, right?
Full credit. Totally did it all. Not Kenneth Feld or anybody else. Supposedly, Kenneth has been working for about 5 months on this with CCP in depth.
Oh, boy. This is going to be interesting. We're going to have some good guesses tonight, and we're going to get as much as we can out of Brisk. I'm going to use my my old Canadian wiles on him and see if I can get some information. We call it the maple pump.
Why are you so weird? Sorry, I'm almost home, by the way, and then I'll sound better.
Well, you're burning around in your car there, Don. You care to tell everyone what you're driving a M1 Abrams tonight, aren't you? No.
You guys are gonna have to talk. I'm in a bad spot.
Sorry.
Oh, well, be careful.
All right,
Don't crash.
Here we go. I'm trying to pull up the because my unprepared ass is trying to pull up all of the notes for what's going on with this new quadrant. Because my ass was not prepared, because I have a flight to catch here in a few hours.
Oh, where are you going, bud?
Where are you going?
I am going to New York with my aunt. So the thing is, when I finished grade school and I was moving on to high school, my aunt said, "I will take you anywhere in the United States for vacation. Where do you want to go?" And I said, New York City. And we went to New York and we saw tons of Broadway shows and whatnot, because that's what I love to do. And when I graduated high school, my aunt texted me again and said, "I will take you anywhere in the world. Where do you want to go?" And I said, New York City. And so we are going.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you going anywhere? What are you doing?
I love New York City.
Something.
New York City's like a $200 flight.
I absolutely love New York City.
Should have said Madagascar or something.
You like theater? Go to fucking London. Come on, man.
I could go to London, but I can go to London any other fucking day.
Brisk, how are you feeling today? You said that you've been into some meetings. What's going on, buddy?
Listen, for those of you who have never served on the CSM, let me explain what it's like. Imagine, if you will, that you know all kinds of things that your friends really want to know and you can't tell them. And at the same time, you're desperately trying to provide good feedback to people who don't always really give a shit what you think. And then you sprinkle in the people out there who in the same breath will say, CSM doesn't do anything. You guys are worthless. And you're fucking everything up. Everything you tell them is wrong. And now the game is screwed up and it's because of you. And there's no in the middle. And tomorrow, I feel like when I wake up in the morning, and I said this to the folks today, I have patch day PTSD. Because I'll wake up at 8 o'clock Eastern Freedom Time over here on the East Coast. And the dev blogs go up usually right around, downtime, which is an hour or two before that. And I will wake up with 10,000 angry DMs. Did you see what they did? How did you let them do this? Do they really think this is all that stuff? And I get the feeling that good or bad, regardless of what you think about what they say tomorrow, that I'm going to have one of those days. And I'm kind of dreading it like, the dog that's been kicked too many times when he sees the guy coming with boots on. You know what I mean?
So Brisk, I know it's not a good thing from a PR standpoint, but you do know that Discord has a legitimate setting that does not let people DM you unless they are on your Discord friends list.
I was going to ask about that. How do you?
I know that's not great as a PR standpoint, but like.
Well, I can't do that. But even if I could, I have it set up so that I can only get DMs from people that either ask permission or share a server with me. But since I'm in literally like 75 servers, 90% of them Eve related, everybody has a server that I'm there with me on somewhere. So that makes it easier for people to DM me. But anyway, listen, okay? It is going to be hard to understate how big tomorrow is going to be in terms of changes. It's going to be hard to understate how significant what they're doing is because it hasn't been done in a long, long time. And they've already said that. That was in Tuesday's thing. And I'm reiterating that point that they made is correct. And there's going to be stuff in there that you guys have been anticipating that is coming. But as I said to CCP today, and these were my exact words, you can give somebody 2 months' notice that you're going to punch them in the face, but that doesn't mean when you punch them in the face that they're going to like it. So there you go.
Tomorrow a punch? Is there any
that was simply the metaphor that I used to express myself today. But we had meetings today. We had our normal meeting today, which was Thursday meeting. And I was not happy, and I expressed myself as being unhappy today.
Can I ask you a question, Brisk?
Yes, you may.
Have you ever asked them to work on not necessarily their providing information beforehand, but providing information afterwards? They don't do a very good job of coming back and saying, hey, this is why we did what we did. This is what we were thinking. Have you guys ever asked them to do that? Are they just not receptive to that, or is that not something you've asked them?
I have asked them to do that every time they do one of these major things.
I figured.
And I specifically said that today. I said today, and I will tell you point blank what I said. I said, listen, I have been face tanking these changes for you guys for the last 2 years. Every time something comes out, I'm there, I'm listening, I'm getting feedback, and I get shit on heavily to the point that I am dreading tomorrow. I would really appreciate it if the people who actually make the design choices, not the community team, the people who make the design choices, take a couple hours tomorrow and sit there and talk to the players and get their feelings and see just a little bit of what we have to put up with when you guys make these massive changes and don't take player sentiment into account.
Do you get much of a response back, or just pretty much ignore that request?
No, of course no, I mean, come on. Yeah, no, that's not fair. I can't tell you what the response was, but I have said that to them at least a half dozen times. And I will say, in fairness, Rattati every once in a while will show up and will listen to people and say things. And I have, obviously, I think Swift is great at it because that's what he did before, and now he's doing it now.
Yeah.
The community team's doing it. But the problem is, it's that my big issue here is I think there's a disconnect in the company between the team that's making most of these changes and the community team, not because they don't talk to each other, but because the team that does this seems they just want to make their changes and do their stuff and then move on, and they don't think that they need to worry or think or talk or go out there and explain stuff. And there are times when the marketing and the promotional people will set something up, and then the ecosystem team or whoever that's doing it doesn't deliver on what they were setting up. And then we got to go back and I'm like, why did you say this? And well, we didn't say that. You should talk to this guy. You know, now that's not a direct quote. That's not anything that's happened. It's more of a hypothetical. But the point is, it's just one of these situations where you get I get frustrated because I feel like you're going to do something that you think is for the best interest of the game, then go out there and tell people that and stand by what you did, and don't just expect, you know, you can throw CSM or the community team out in front of you and let the players blunt themselves on us, because I'll tell you, I'm kind of tired of that. And it's not like, and the worst part is they have the best possible advocate in me. Because while I am 100% on the player side and do not give a rat fuck whether people are happy with the company or not, because if the company screws up, I'm going to be the first one to tell them. I am not a CCP fanboy. I do not care about the company as a company. They're not paying me anything. I don't work for them. But I have a really high sense of fairness, and I feel like if people are not being fair to them, I'm going to say, hey, you're not being fair. And then that turns into, oh, you're just a CCP shill. It's not that I'm a shill. I'm just being fair.
It's
I deserve it. So that when I do shit on them, they're like, well, even Brisk is shitting on them. Maybe this is that's why I always say, hold your powder. Don't complain about everything, so that when you do complain, it has value, because if you complain about everything, they're just going to not listen to you. But if you usually say, hey, this is okay, and then you say, no, this is really bad, that it's like, you know, when you've lost Walter Cronkite, you've lost Middle America kind of thing. That's kind of how I try to be with this stuff.
Well, you know,
I have a feeling tomorrow's going to be bad.
Is there any reaction to what Mustache and Kaz had to say on Saturday?
Where did he go?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't know if they saw the show or not. I haven't asked them if they watched the meta show or not.
I feel bad for Brisk all the time. Like, even this week, man, the patch hit on Tuesday and the first thing that happened with the patch was, and I hate to call us out, but my own corporation instantly started whining about the court finder changes, and it's like, hey, you know, like, you're allowed to be frustrated, you're allowed to express those frustrations, and I go to Brisk and I'm like, Brisk, I know you're probably getting a lot of shit already, but come on, we got to talk about this. And you know, so I started talking to Brisk about, you know, what other people are feeling about this patch, and then it kind of hit me that Brisk is honestly right. The player base instantly starts shitting on anything without any proper data to back it up.
I've pointed that out many times. Yeah, right? Give it a chance first before you start complaining. Understand it before you start complaining.
It's something
people don't do that.
It's something I've talked about before, right? So like, go look at the interdiction nullifier changes. That was like fucking what, a week's worth of Reddit shit posting about how terrible that was gonna be. And look at it now, it's fine. It's just a normal part of fucking life now. And
I like those changes from the start. I don't feel bad for Brisk though, because he's too fucking handsome to feel bad for him.
No, I feel bad for Brisk because if I woke up every fucking morning at 7 a.m. to go do my job for the United States government, and I also had fucking over 3,000 Discord messages from people complaining, I mean, I wouldn't like to do
you know.
All right, well, to be fair, I work with the government. I don't work for them.
But you work with them, but you get
This is my wife gets mad at me because the first thing I do when I get out of bed is I check Discord, and she's like, "You're talking to people on Discord, but you didn't check with me." I'm sorry. Like that's in Vegas. She yelled at me about that, and I felt bad because that's exactly what I did.
I'm actually mad at Mifune. We go to Vegas, and he just blew me off. Didn't even say. I barely said hi to me. Said hi to me.
I
know.
Ignored me.
Such a-
It was
said
ridiculous.
Dick.
I
He
said,
was a jerk. Yeah. Why'd you hit on me like that?
I've got a question for
so many
Brisk.
people.
Hold on. So,
All right.
Brisk.
You guys got me for like another 3 minutes. So
I know, that's why I just want to ask you real quick. So when we were bitching about the crab site, and you were like, guys, it's really not that bad. You guys are complaining, blah, blah, blah. Is it because you really wanted us to just hold it together till this comes out?
It wasn't so much that I really honestly, I'll be honest, not the crab sites. Because honestly, when I argue with you guys about the crab sites, it's because I felt like the crab sites were going to be good, and I think they are, having done a bunch of them with Merc and Nam and them. We've had a lot of fun running those sites. We've made a lot of money. So I felt like everybody wasn't being fair, because the one thing that we couldn't figure out was how lucrative these things were going to be, because you can't tell that on CC given, loot's worth nothing. What, 100? Every item's 100 discs, so there's no way to really figure it out. And everybody's focused on the bounties and not on the loot, where we knew the loot was going to be where the money is. But anyway, regardless. But I will say this, my telling you guys to chill out about the NFTs and stuff was exactly because I wanted you to be ready for tomorrow.
Great.
Okay.
So, since I know you're going to have to go here soon, but we're going to start doing our predictions, I think, because based upon the terminology that they've used, we're pretty sure that they said moon compression and gas compression's coming. I'm assuming maybe it's in the next one, but we'll see.
I want a 1-of-1 Bristrubal character portrait NFT.
Oh, God, no.
I will pay lots of Eskies.
I'll sign you an autograph. How about that? That'll be worth more. It's actually a
do.
physical thing and some bullshit blockchain thing. Anyway, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't complain when they do dumb stuff, but what I'm saying is that you got to put the dumb stuff in perspective. Like, for example.
Well, that's hard from us because, we don't know that they've got the dumber stuff coming.
I think it's important. All right, we've all been together for how long? We've seen major changes to the game that everybody thought were going to be fucking awful that ended up not being a big deal at all. And so that's my baseline is typically is what I try to say is, look, things are not going to be as bad as everybody makes them out to be. I think a perfect example of that was the mobile, cloaky inhibitor thingies that they put out there. Everybody thought, oh, it's the end of cloaky camping. Nobody's going to be able to hunt anymore. That didn't happen, But I think there are times when they make major changes to existing stuff that's been around a long time, like when they fiddle with the economy, that I think that's where it makes the most sense to get upset, because that's the stuff that has the farthest reaching consequences and has the most immediate impact. So when I see people like the guys in the CF7 Discord drove me nuts yesterday. And the only reason I'm even there was because somebody gave me a hard time. Kenneth Feld's in there all the time, and we never see you in there, Brisk. So, of course, I had to go in there. And they're all flipping out about this low-sec PvE site that's gate-locked at one person. And they're all like, oh, this is like instant gameplay. This is horrible. This is bad. I'm like, guys, that ship sailed 3 years ago. We've had Abyssals for 3 years. Well, we don't like Abyssals. I'm like, okay, that's great. You don't like Abyssals. That's fine. This is some of the most popular content in the game. It's being run all the time. It's good content. No, it's not good content. It doesn't do all this. It doesn't provide all this. It doesn't do. I'm like, guys, the only objective measure of good content in EVE really is player engagement, because everything else is subjective. What one person finds fun, somebody else is not. And if you're going to design stuff that maybe you don't like, but the best part about the game is there's a ton of stuff in there that you can do that has nothing to do with the stuff that you don't like. And just because there's this site, and frankly, as far as I know, those sites are ridiculously hard and shitty, and nobody's going to run them. And that's going to be a great way for me to go back and say, hey guys, you know what? This new thing that you designed, everybody hates it and they're not doing it. That is a more powerful argument than this is instance gameplay. It's antithetical to EVE and everything. When I'm like, guys, that ship sailed 3 years ago. It's like complaining about skill points. You're not going to get them to pull them out. It's just skill injectors killed the game. Well, that's great. They've been in the game for 6 years. You're not going to get them to change that. So it's just the way that we complain has to be constructive. Otherwise, they're just going to fucking ignore us. And that's what I worry about. Because I don't want us to be ignored. I want them to do what we tell them, or at least listen to us when we tell them things.
We should stress that constructive criticism is not oh, CCP did bad. If I was in charge of CCP, this is how I would do it. Posts on Reddit, please. Thank you. Because I'm getting fucking tired of those posts.
Well, I think, the biggest issue with Reddit is that, and same with the main Eve forums, is you can never tell whether the feedback you're getting is from an actual player or just somebody that used to play and is not pissed off. And that's what frustrates. And that's why, I get yelled at all the time about this, and then I got to get out of here. When somebody says something to the effect of, "Oh, I don't even play this game anymore," then I'm like, dude, then why are you giving me feedback? I need feedback from the people that are here, because they're the ones that are still playing, and they need to design the game for people who are playing it. Yes, I know we want to bring people back, and I know we want to get new players in, but no game survives if the people that are playing it suddenly all stop. So they got to develop stuff for us. So I think that's always frustrating. Anyway, guys, enjoy the rest of the show. I will be over on Rampage. If you want to talk more, come watch us after Theta Thursday's over. Meta Show is Saturday. I have postponed our production meeting. It'll be tomorrow because I want to wait and see what the reaction is to all the shit. And then we'll have lots of fun. And we had big fights today and stuff that you guys can talk about too. So thanks for letting me come on and bloviate for 10 minutes.
It's a pleasure as always, Brisk. You're welcome.
I show up in Brisk.
I will see you soon, gentlemen and lady.
What's up, Mike? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Eating some fucking chicken right now.
Nice. We're about to go over the patch notes from this week and the announcement of the new quadrant. And then we're going to move on to some speculation. And then before the show ends tonight, we can talk about today's big Serb victory and PGL's raging, claiming that lag was the problem, that Pappy once again lost a battle against Goonswarm and in it, which was pretty fucking funny. But I believe Dawn just got home, so she's probably switching from her phone to her PC.
I've been home. You guys just keep talking.
Who does?
Yeah, who, Dawn? I wonder.
You guys.
No. Anyways, why don't we start with the big fight that happened today, Mike?
Do we want to do that before we do the patch notes?
Yeah, maybe you can walk us through that a little bit of what happened today, Mike.
So there was a Fortizar that got reffed, and oh shit. And there's also time to last.
I actually have one of the test FCs coming.
Okay, get Carmen on here.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have to wait for his 10 minutes to be up for me to get him on.
Which one, though? That's the
Carmen
question.
Gel. He's not leadership of any kind. He's just an FC.
Carmen's like my favorite test FC. Like, honest to God.
Anyway, let's go over the new Dawn Quadrant. Hooray! Named after Dawn Reyes. She takes all the blame when it's garbage.
Carmen. Yeah, so and then as I was trying to tell Carmen, basically you have to just wait 10 minutes and then you can join a voice server and we can drag you in. So
also remember, guys, like no matter what rolls out tomorrow, we've been through adversity before, right? We as goons and as people that play this shitty game have been able to adapt and overcome. Hell, people made it through Blackout, for fuck's sakes. Come on.
Okay, let's talk about, well, we're not going to get into Blackout because I could spend a whole nother show about how much I hated that. But, so predictions for tomorrow is, I'm predicting that they are going to roll it.
Don't we want to go over what they announced before?
They announced that they announced nothing.
Yes,
they're saying
yes, they did, Dawn.
Right there.
What quadrant? It's right here.
What? Oh, besides the weird site thingies that they came out with like capital components that, oh wait, those components are already available in the game, and it's only going to change the volume of how many we have at a moment. So the price on dreads will drop by maybe 500 mil. Is that what you want to go over? Okay, well, it's this shitty site that no one's going to run and provides almost no money.
How do you know?
Scroll up a little bit, Mifune. It said in bold letters, it says,
can you link that
changes to mining, compression, and resources.
Yeah. This is why I want to go
this
over
is for the whole
in bold text.
Right.
This is for the whole quadrant. Yes, but that's what we're speculating about. Is the whole quadrant.
No. I was going to speculate about just what's coming tomorrow because it sounds like it's not going to be good.
Well, yeah, we can do that. We can do that in a goddamn minute. Jesus. Maybe there's people that haven't fucking read this post yet, and they don't know what the hell we're going to speculate about.
Can you link the
structure?
Can you link the link in the chat as well?
Yeah, I can link
or provide it. So, but yeah, so basically the quadrant, this whole quadrant is called the New Dawn. And it's all about mining. So that's why we're pretty sure that they did a little nod to yours truly over here. So the biggest things that are going to be coming is moon ore and gas compression. Possibly adding another gas bonus hull to mining or ratting. We're hoping for that. There's these new exploration sites that are coming out, as well as these new combat sites, which or is the exploration sites the combat site? Are those the same? Okay, yeah, it is. Okay, so the exploration site is a site where you're able to get some capital parts or capital pieces for, and when they worded it, it sounded like people were making like cap components, but it's actually just like these things that you use to build stuff. It's not actual cap components, which would be huge. These are like normal things that you normally get in the game as it is. They're just increasing the spawn chance now because of these sites. The big controversy is that I believe when people were testing these out, it only lets one person in the site.
So pretty much it's kind of like the best way that to imagine it is imagine a 10 out of 10 site, like a 10 out of 10 dead site, but put the abyssal property of only allowing one person through the gate. So once one person enters this site, nobody else can enter. So you can't get hot dropped in it, etc.
But it spawns something in space that you have to go get.
Yes.
And that you can get dropped on and get
you can get dropped on and get that stuff. Why won't they put it in nullsec is a question from the chat. The big answer is we don't fucking know. And this is an argument that I was making on Mumble a few days ago. Was that lowsec already has plenty of fucking content. They get the event sites every time when an event comes out or a holiday event or whatever. That's all lowsec. Lowsec also has wormhole space, like constantly connecting through it, right? Lowsec has level 4 missions and level 5 missions in it. The people, like, there is so much content in Lowsec. It's content that people don't like, apparently, so no one will do it.
All right, so Carmen's able to come in now. Okay. So,
welcome to the show, Carmen Gel.
Let's take advantage of Mike and Carmen. We're going to go into the fight today, actually.
Wait, who is this fucking guy, first of all?
Give me 2 seconds, I gotta grab a drink.
You're fine. So, Carmen, why don't you introduce yourself to the lovely audience?
Hello. I think it's the first time I've been on a show from the Imperium, but I'm FC in test.
Nice. So, and you were at the big fight. For those of you that don't know, there was a giant fight over in Curse tonight that was reminiscent of one of the bigger fights from the war. I believe the battle report, if we have it somewhere, is like 16 billion to 76 billion last time I looked.
Well, it wasn't quite one-sided. Well, it was quite a one-sided fight in the end. But
what happened?
Do you really want to get into that?
Yeah, let's get the test perspective.
You got slapped around a little bit, didn't you there, bud?
I mean, you guys had 100 carries on a fort, and having capitals defending a structure with capitals on it under a jammer is very strong, as we have found. Right? Like, that's just.
I have to ask.
You wanted to be our enemy. There you go, bud.
I have to ask though: is it supposed to be fair though? Like, why wouldn't
no one said it was supposed to be fair? No one said it was supposed to be fair, pal. I'm just saying that, what I was saying was that you had an advantageous position. You guys had a strong position, and you defended well. That's why you won.
And we will be nice to our guests, you two.
Oh, plus we're better human beings. Also,
we're better than.
I'm sure you are.
We're better than Trash Talk Tuesday.
Well, that's a very low bar to come beyond, right? So
Look.
Trash Talk Tuesday.
Hey, why don't we talk about the fight? Okay, why don't we
Yeah.
talk about the fight instead of talking about how people are human, like talking about people as human beings? Like shit. What are we, fucking Redline? Like shit.
Guys are so mean. Anyways, yes, let's talk about the fight. So the setup, I believe, and you guys can clarify for me. The setup was that Initiative has a Fortizar in the system of oh shit. They've had one there for months on and off. And which group was the original one to reinforce it?
So it was Test actually that went to reinforce it and Horde.
You rude people.
You know, when I thought that Init was going to come and actually contest us, but I think they ended up going to some fight in Esoteria at the same time. So the Horde fleet that came to do the initial reinforce, they went to go and ref a jump bridge that was set up for the DY TAC P Forza timer that was later that night, which was also a bit of a one-sided bloodbath, just kind of like the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was tested the initial reinforce on that like yesterday.
Okay. Now, with the initial refs, are you guys, I guess from your perspective, are you guys just poking for funsies or for revenge, or do you know if you guys have a goal right now, or is this all just for fun?
I mean, we've been, not having too many EUTZ fights for a while, right? Like, it'd be fun to have some EUTZ fights. This was the EUTZ 5, and we got a good fight out of it. Like, we didn't win, obviously, that's a thing, and, you guys can be real fucking smug about that. That's fine. But, it was a decent fight. We got a bunch of dudes. We had, good brawl over it. It was good times, probably have some more of those. I mean, I'm not going to, stand there and say we didn't care about the fourth timer. We mildly cared about it, but it's not the end of the world if we didn't win it.
There'll always be another one, right?
Well, yeah, probably the same one, right?
Yeah, you can always do it again.
That's the third fight we've had on that fort.
That's been good source of content. Hopefully we'll get some more.
Right. That's just kind of how it is, I think, right? It's just because, after the war, everyone kind of took a big hiatus from EVE. No one wanted to fucking play. We all went to go play different shit, and now we're all realizing that gaming is terrible and that there are no good games out there except for EVE, and so everyone started logging in again and was like, well, shit, might as well go get some content.
Well, I think that what a lot of people are starting to realize, at least on our side of the fence, I don't really know if it's the same on your side of the fence, is that, if there's not, stuff to do to go and fight people, it's kind of boring. PvE, this is not a game you play for the PvE, right? The PvE in EVE Online is not, engaging, interesting content. It never has been, probably never will be. And, PvP is kind
we'll see what tomorrow brings, right?
I mean, yeah, I'm happy to wait and see, but I'm not holding my breath.
Do you have any predictions of what they're going to do tomorrow? What the announcement's going to be there, Carmen Shells?
I mean, I got some ideas. I don't know if I'd say they're predictions, right? They said that in their update that they're doing a big, mining ship rework, right? I don't know if that's coming on Friday or if that's later on.
So all of the patch itself is worded by the dev blog is supposed to come out in December. They're just releasing all the information tomorrow. So that you know what's coming by December.
Roughly what I expect is that, ore anomalies will be, somewhat less horrible than before. They'll be kind of not anywhere near what they were before, but they'll be, not as bad as they are now. The mining rework that they've said they're going to do, I expect that raw cores will not be able to, be anywhere near as good at mining directly. They'll probably be, relegated to being, boosting ships kind of thing. And beyond that, I don't really know too much. Possibly there's going to be some, extensions to or changes to the mining ships line, the ore ship line, to be having ships that are kind of more specialized towards gas mining and things like that. But in terms of really seismic ground changing changes, I don't really think it's gonna be too much stuff there. It'll just be more of the same.
It should be interesting anyway. Speaking of things that are rolling out in December,
we're still doing the fight.
No, I know.
Oh, you want to do
okay. EVE Montreal's coming up. Finnick, could you pull that graphic up for our friends, please?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
So if you're Canadian, I want to pretend to be Canadian. You can go hang out in Montreal with some of our favorite Canadian brethren. Greg won't be there because he doesn't do anything fun, apparently. But you can meet Ben Rush, who is one of the leaders in Sorry Not Sorry, or wrong, sorry, whatever. Our Canadian corp that lives out in Impasse right now with Red Menace Coalition. He wore his chainmail tie when he was on the show, and we greatly appreciated it. So you guys should check it out. We'll put the blurb up on screen and then link it somewhere so you guys can enjoy.
So now is the chainmail tie a clip-on, or do you actually have?
No, it was a real. I think it was a zip-up. I don't remember. I don't remember how he got on there.
Derail you there.
Here goes the poster for Eve Montreal. It's both in French and in English.
Okay.
I'm very happy to say that I was able to completely read it in French before English, even though I haven't had a French class in 3 years.
Now, real quick, so Mike, you were on the Imperium side and you were handling the subcap fleet of the fight tonight?
I was seeing the Surg fleet that may or may not have dive bombed into test.
I got a question for Mike. When you looked across the across space and you saw the cold, dead eyes of Carmen Gel staring back at you, were you afraid at all, or were you like, this guy? Come on.
Dude, I wasn't even seeing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't even realize Carmen was on grid until like the.
I was in a scimitar, man.
Yeah, Carmen, out of all the test dudes, like, Carmen is probably my favorite because he's, like, not, like, super toxic. And, like, he can actually have a conversation without being, like, super spam. That's one of my most...
You haven't met Carmen, then, clearly.
Those are, like, two entirely different things. There are certainly a lot of people who will tell you I'm, like, super toxic. Probably Dark Shines is one of those people. But in terms of, like, having a conversation without being very spinny, like, I mean, why would you, right? Like,
No, that's one thing...
Yeah.
It's one thing I don't like is I don't like super spin. Yeah, like, yeah, I fed in DY last night, but then today we got a dunk. Oh well, like, MO.
Yeah, I mean, end of the day, like, you win some, you lose some. Like, there's got to be some pride in, like, not lying to people. You know, like, on both sides of the fence, right? Like, if you just spin to your own people and it's obvious you're just lying to them, then at some point you just lose a huge amount of credibility.
Yeah, that is a question. What are you clicking like crazy, by the way?
Sorry, I'm in the middle of a Dota game right now. I was.
Why are we not playing Dota right now?
Because it's a terrible game. It's worse than
terrible game.
Well, why are we not playing together another time?
Oh, yeah,
I was gonna.
Because that's how I get my toxic out, so I'm not mean to people in the
I was going to claim he was playing Cookie Clicker. He was buying more grandmas for Cookie Clicker.
No, I think you have to click more in Dota than Cookie Clicker.
Well, one of my friends plays Cookie Clicker, and I still have no fucking idea like how it works. Like, he explained to me how the game works. I still don't understand it.
Have you never played like an idle game before? Like, you've never downloaded
Honestly, no,
one of those games on your phone?
No, like, I genuinely don't.
What the entire Cookie Clicker? I don't know what the fuck that is.
The entire
it's literally a thing where you click a cookie and you get points and there's bonuses and stuff. And you just click a cookie. That's all I've ever seen.
Why the fuck would anybody want to click a cookie? Eat a cookie or fucking don't eat a cookie?
No. So the whole thing with idle games is like, you know, you click the thing, it gets you points. You spend the points on like like idle upgrading idle passive ways of making those points.
Right, but I've already got a game that I play when I'm like, you know, AFK playing something else, and it's Eve.
Yeah, but
like, I promise you, right? I played through the entirety of Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, literally the entire game, start to finish, while fucking Rorqual mining in Esoteria. It was great.
Don't worry, I used to Rorqual mine and play Forza 4 all the fucking time.
Okay, ADHD children here. Fight. Because Mike's gonna get bored after 5 minutes. He can't.
What was going on with what was going on with this? The sound? Because I went in and like I was like, I don't need to turn the sound off, and I was like 0 frames per second.
Okay,
and I got blown up, and then Mike yelled at me.
So the most recent sound patch has kind of like made sound use more memory and CPU. So I haven't had Eve sound on in 2 years because that was a thing in fucking X47. Turn your sound off because it would use more of your memory, and like everyone was crashing in X47. So it's just one of those things where like you kind of gotta compensate a bit.
So how
quick side note here, right? Like right during the war, right before we started dropping all those the NPC Delve Cube stars, right? Like I bought a new PC with new loads of RAM and all that stuff, right? And I reinstalled Eve, and I was playing it with like basically full graphics and sound on and everything like that, just because that was like the default settings. Like, it is a completely different game. Like, it is a totally different experience if you play Eve with all of the graphics on and sound on everything. It is phenomenally different. It's genuinely quite impressive. If you've not done it for many years, I would highly recommend you give it a go.
So, like, I actually FC'd the whole fight today on max graphics. Like,
Yeah,
Well,
I guess it's not anywhere near as unstable now as people would like tell you that it is. You know, like I know in years past it was very unstable. But
I think the only reason that it's still quote unquote unstable is that you have a lot of people. Like I would say the majority of the Eve population does not have a gaming focused PC. You know, not like absolute Chad 30 series graphics card, 32 gigabytes of RAM. People don't have that. I think the majority of people have like 8 gigabytes of RAM, still on like GTX 1060s and 1070s.
I mean,
well,
that isn't even that bad. Like I played.
That's
I
not.
played on a 1060.
I'm not saying it's. I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm just saying that that's what most people are using nowadays, and there still can be some problems here and there.
And you know, that's a good supposition, right? Because that's actually backed up by CCP's own data about what they have seen about, you know, like, for example, you know, like they did some survey about like, you know, what's like the DirectX level that people have installed on their systems because of their graphics card and stuff like that, right? And it's like, it's pretty far behind the curve for the most part because most people in Eve have like relatively old systems. Like it's, you know, quite far behind the curve of what is normal in games, right? Like I've seen a lot of that stuff from people who work there. So yeah, it's a pretty fair thing to say.
Back on the topic of the fight, though. I mean, it was a fun fight.
Yeah, honestly.
Well, how did it start? Like, was all of Imperium there already, or was it like one fleet versus one fleet, and more things happening?
Well, you know, as usual, you know, when you get to a fight at a scale where everyone's like, you know, giga half pinging, you know, like all freaking day in advance, right? Like, you know, the real fight starts, you know, hours and hours in advance with people like, you know, doing stuff to set up the prep work for what the fight is going to be later, which we did see from both sides today. Obviously, one side decided to commit pretty heavily with caps more than the other side did, and that's, you know, what ultimately ended up being a big deciding factor in, you know, the outcome of the fight. But yeah, these things like these big fights, they're almost always decided like, you know, like many hours before, you know, what actually happens. You know, EVE Online being the game that it is, once you hit the grid in a huge fight like that, there's not really a huge amount of things you can do which are going to like significantly turn the tide for one way or another. Like it's very difficult to mess it up, right? Like the strategy and like the very basic ideas of what you're going to do are the things that are going to decide whether you win or lose, and then the actual execution of those ideas on an individual level for like the FCs and stuff is like, it doesn't really change a whole lot, really.
Yeah, the only like you just do the basics of what your comp does, and some FCs do this or that or the other thing.
Speaking of caps, has anybody checked in with Brave to see if they're okay?
Oh, that's really mean. You shouldn't say that.
That was getting baited on fucking Diva is a pretty fun thing. But
I saw a chat log from someone in Brave. I'm not going to say who I got it from or who it was that was talking, but they had said it was someone in Brave, and they had said, you know, losing caps is better than having them sitting around in a hangar not ever being used. And honestly, I'm glad that they died. And that was what I saw.
I mean, that's pretty fair. I have 4 dreadnoughts that are just in space somewhere.
I mean, like,
they're all over, and they do me no good. So it's kind of like, I get it. I kind of wish I had just like at least used it, because like, you know, I've got dreads in places for, you know, catching moving titans or whatever that we did in the past and stuff, and they just kind of stayed there.
We selling them?
No, they're just sitting there. Let me tell you, Asher will take us flying around space for stuff, and there were multiple times where we're sitting in like a system doing something, and he's like, "Gosh, I wish we had a dread." I'm like, "Oh, I've got a dread like 8 jumps away. You want to go get it?"
It's amazing how much stuff you find lying around after you've been playing for a while.
I remember for Dave's birthday, we go roaming, and Dave's like, you know, I really want a fucking bait dread. And then one of our court mates was like, I got one! It's like a few jumps away. And we're like, well, fuck it. So we end up going, picking up the dread, giving it to Dave.
That's like me and monitors.
And we fucking yeeted ourselves, you know, to Brave, who finally came and fought us on his birthday. It was hilarious. But, you know, like, you really do. Yeah.
Oh, Dave's a good lad. I got a lot of time for Dave. I like him.
I love Dave. I'm the one who stole his bicycle. I stole his bike. Right after I joined his corp, his fucking bike went missing, and it got stolen, and the security camera footage got knocked out, so I'm the one who stole it.
No, but one thing I will say about, like, today's fight is, like, there was a lot of fucking dudes there. Like, I had a great time. Like, I may or may not have rammed the enemy fleet a little bit in fucking Serbs, which was interesting. But I killed fucking Auroch Kato, so objective achieved.
So basically, what I'm hearing is that Mike, that you ran the fleet in to die, while the carriers did all the actual work. Is that what I'm hearing?
Not really. If you look on the BR, the Serbs did a fuckload of the damage. We were nuking Eagles in one cycle bomb, so...
Well, yeah, but that's because all the Eagles that were there were, like, at max range, so they were just not really doing any damage, so... Like, the only damage that's recorded on the battle report, right, is for ships that actually died, and the Eagles weren't killing anything. So that's why they did a lot of damage. The Eagles did, but they weren't actually killing anything.
They kept shooting. They were shooting my Serbs, or they were shooting Eagles. And
no, I mean your Eagles, like the Goon, and was it? I think Init had an Eagle fleet, I think, or at least Goons had one.
Goons had Eagle fleet, and it had 2 Eagle fleets and a Serb fleet, and Goons had a Serb fleet.
Yeah, so basically all of the Imperium Eagle fleets that were just like sat kind of on the fort. They did a bunch of damage, right? But it wasn't like that much. There was a lot of stuff they were shooting that was like just catching reps and not dying. So they certainly did a lot of like more raw total damage than what the battle report says. But the battle report only records raw damage dealt for stuff that dies. And a lot of stuff they were shooting port reps, whereas the Serbs were volleying stuff a lot better because they do better alpha damage at range that Eagles don't.
Yeah. I just remember we get upgraded, someone goes, oh shit, there's an NC Serb fleet. I was like, oh, okay. I just was like, they need to pay their Serb license, and we ended up killing a fuckload of their Serbs.
Now, Carmen, I've got to ask about it. Is there any reason why everyone brought everybody other than like Gurgoons, Hackgoons, or is it more of like everybody's so bored we're all here?
Dawn, it's one of those things, and it's one group bat phones another group, the other group pre-pings, then the other group bat phones this group, and another group pre-pings, and it just completely just goes from there.
Yeah, it takes one person to overreact, which in this case was Dark Shines, and then it just kind of spirals from there, right?
I don't know if it's an overreaction.
Well, every timer, Muskie shows up, then Tess shows up, and I was surprised when I saw Piggles today. I haven't seen him since like the war ended.
He's been like busy in real life, right? Like I mean, like I was gonna see the fleet today, and basically Priggle turned up, and he's very very busy in real life with his like like job and like, real life and stuff. And this was like, I think it's like some Veterans Day or some shit in the US, right? Today?
Yeah, it's Veterans Day in the US.
Today is Veterans
Day. So he was like off work and stuff today, so he was around, and like I was chatting to him before the timer, and this was like his kind of like. He hadn't really had many chances to FC recently, and he probably wasn't for a while. So I was like, sort of said to him, like, do you want to just FC the fleet today then, if you don't move out? And he was like, yeah, sure. That's why he was around today. That's why he took the fleet.
Yeah, after I fed a bit in DY last night, I was like, yeah, no, revenge run round 2 with Muskie tomorrow.
Yeah, we kind of thought that we'd bet that after last night. Last night was worked out pretty good for us. But yeah, the story of like how this ended up being a big fight, right, was that yesterday, like us and Horde, Tess and Horde went down there to go and like make a timer to just like get an EUTZ fight basically and try and get a bit of content. And pretty much immediately afterwards, Dark Shine's like absolutely giga herfed, like posted a fucking super high level op, get all his dudes online and all that shit for it. And it was kind of like either you just don't go to it, or you also have to like giga herf your dudes and go. We haven't really had any good fights in EUTZ for a while, so it's like, nah, sure, this is fucking going. Let's see how it goes.
It's funny because it was like an EUTZ fight, but then with Goons, it was like most of our USTZ FC showed up. Like, besides like Asher and a couple others, like it was a lot of USTZ FCs for backing everyone up.
It was one of those like first really big fights for a while, so I kind of expected just everyone from every side turns up, right? That's pretty much how that normally goes.
I was just sitting around, and at one point I'm like, I'm not being shot. Fuck it. Went in on the Eagles, got like 70k off of the Text Eagle fleet at one point, and then turned around. I was like,
yeah, you just sort of burned at us, and at one point Progel was on comms like, wait, hold up, these subs are just burning at us? Like, what? Started shooting them.
I killed Auroch Kato. That was the whole objective, was to kill Auroch Kato. I killed Auroch Kato. One of the Horde guys. I killed Auroch, and I killed 3 other vultures. And
Auroch. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Auroch. I was like, yeah, Auroch dies first. And I was like, there's a perfect window, too. You guys were shooting fighters, so it's like, fuck it, why not? Also, yeah, there was an incursion in system, which made that even more interesting.
Yeah,
if there was an incursion, how did they did you guys sign it, or you gate in?
They gated all caps in, and so did we, right? It's just, yeah. I mean, that's what I was saying about, like, the setup to the fight, right? I mean, like, the things that decide the fight, like, the setup to it happened, many, many hours beforehand. Like, it was probably about 3 hours before the fight happens that, Goons and Unit decided to, form their caps up and got their caps in system in the fort, probably like 2 or 3 hours before the timer came out.
Our audience actually has a very good question, actually.
It was about the same time. Sorry, I'll let you finish in a second. It was pretty much the same time that we actually, we brought in a couple of recloner supers with reships for our subcaps as well, like a few hours beforehand as well. So, these moves that are the things that are important in the fight, they always happen hours and hours before the timer happens.
There is a good question in chat, is if we had time to get our caps all the way from Delve over there and set up, then why didn't Fire or other friendlies bring some caps in too? Because they weren't in danger of getting dropped on.
Yeah, but you also got to remember, we were on a armor timer Fortizar. They were
in Tether as well, in a channel system.
I can't, I'm not one of those people who's going to be like, oh, they were Kettenal. Honestly, they had their valid reasons to. At the end of the day, you're not going to risk a cap fleet with the fucking current cap prices like that.
But
I'm not going to say we didn't think about it. I thought about it, right? I thought about bringing caps that timer, but realistically, given how early you guys are forming up, literally 3+ hours before the timer to get your stuff in, our play to do that was going to be to get caps in and hold the regional gate, and is it really worth it to do that? Have your dudes wait 4 hours for a timer that not to be funny, but we didn't really care that much about. We kind of care about it, but not that much. To fucking rage, burn our dudes out to have them sitting around for 4 or 5 hours at a time. It just kind of wasn't really worth it.
I mean, I was just joking around that this is now the forever war, and it'll be going on generations later.
I know you're joking, but it kind of will be, right? The whole blood thing, pretty much ended up in how goons and PanFam are pretty much in the forever war now, and potentially this is just going to end up the same way.
When has it never been a forever war? I mean, the relationship with Test has always been kind of an ever-chinging process, but we've always been enemies with PanFam and them.
What I mean there, Don, is at this point in Eve, because there's such a gap in power between blocks. And what I mean by that is, for the up-and-coming blocks, there is a huge gap in power, and there isn't really a way for them to catch up right now with the current changes. So,
except for maybe tomorrow.
Good choices then to do that, right?
Except for maybe tomorrow, when we find out Roracles don't even do fucking mining anymore, and they're just some fucking hauler capital.
Or they make them super OP.
Oh yeah, they're gonna totally make
this is why I sold my Roracle, and I don't care about crab.
Yeah, right.
I don't play this game to crab. I play this game to kill crabs, kill fucking people, and have a great time, and then laugh about it with my fleet. At the end of the day, this is one thing I never have got with raging out at your fleet, and this is my biggest irk with FCs, when they start raging at their fleet. If you lose a fight, just be chill about it. You got to be the other 9 in DY. I was shit, I lost a fight, whatever. You guys have fun? And then a couple guys go, yeah, we had fun. We lost our ships, whatever. Ships are ammo. That's my one big gripe with this game, and a lot of people in this game is oh my god, we lost a fight. It's the end of the fucking... No, fucking isn't.
Well, I think that, it's fair to say that you've got probably quite a different perspective to people who are in other groups that are not, the same, large size as the Imperium is, right?
Oh yeah, but I mean, even with the other null blocks,
Right, the other null blocks, although, they're also not all quite in the same boat as you guys, where if you guys really want to, and we have seen it during the war, you could form 5 subcap fleets, right? That's a lot of people,
That is a lot of social investment to get that many.
It is. I'm not trying to diminish the effort that it takes to get to that point. What I'm trying to say is, that when you are at that point, it is different to the other null blocks, right? If you want to go to PanFam, be oh, hey, PanFam, can PanFam form 5 or 6 full subcap fleets? No, they can't, and they're possibly the closest second big block. Winter Coalition, can Winter Coalition form 5 or 6 full subcap fleets? No, they can't.
No, because half of them are bots.
No. Hold on.
When it comes to actual numbers and size of fleets you can form, when it really matters, when it comes down to it, the Imperium has been for a long time been the biggest group to conform the biggest amount of fleets and put them on grid. That's why everyone refers to them as being the biggest block in the game, even though potentially the raw character numbers on Dotland don't necessarily reflect that, right? Their ability to put the numbers in fleets, that's what people judge it by.
So quick thing I do have to say here to Arendis's comment. Yeah, me too. I wasn't mad about the fight. I was more having, we had a fax bump on our way home last night. I had to turn around, burn 8 jumps. That was the thing that actually got me more annoyed than losing the fight, was having to turn around as I'm on my way home. It's God fucking damn it, why did your fax have to bump?
Is that why it took so long?
Yes. It's because some dude's fax bumped.
I would have just left and be we'll come back and get you later someday. Someday, maybe. Just leave it here.
What?
It's fine.
You can't do that.
Sure can. Sure can. So, it sounds like that there's going to be potentially more fun content out in that area if you guys do plan to continue to do some poking and prodding. I do have a question since you're here, Carmen. We do know from the end of the war originally that there was an estimated 4-month plan for Outer Passage to be there.
Okay.
That was the original estimate. Obviously, things change, but is Tess going anywhere? Or are you guys going to? Or do you still see yourself sitting there?
I mean, we'll see. I can't possibly comment on that right now.
You certainly could.
I mean, like, if we do go somewhere, I'm pretty sure you'll all know about it. Like, it'll be on the front page of Reddit pretty freaking soon, I imagine.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
If you had your choice, where would you want to go? This is not just more of a wish list.
Honestly, it's kind of like a really weird like political situation at the moment, especially kind of like with our position. Like, where would we want to go? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's not really a huge amount of places that are like really, really great for us to go to. I mean, like obviously, like nothing that's ideal in the same sense that the position that we were in before the World War B2 or whatever you want to call it happened, where we were kind of in Esteria with like a knit with goons, like that was a really, really good position for us to be in, kind of like, in regards to where we were and where our kind of hostiles were. Really to be in a good position now, we would probably have to displace someone somewhere, and probably someone that was, relatively blue to us. So I wouldn't really want to say there's like a place that would be great for us to go to. Like, it's kind of anywhere we would go to, it would just be kind of like awkward, and kind of like we'd have to just try and make the best of it, pretty much.
I hear
right?
Providence is great this time of year.
Is it though?
Just because it doesn't have any belts in it to mine in is,
It's interesting that you mentioned Providence, actually, because, given that a lot of the economic changes that, CCP's been making to the game over the last, year or 2 years, or some shit like that, right? They've been obviously putting a lot of credence and a lot of input into, making LowSec, massively more important, more profitable than it ever has been before. And I do wonder how much that is going to benefit people who are living in a position where, where they live is nullsec bordering on lowsec, so they can kind of be in a position to take advantage of kind of both of those kind of areas. And probably, ironically, I'm sure he didn't mean to raise this point, but ironically, Provi is kind of one of those places.
I mean, with every patch, different regions gain benefits or negatives based upon the current game mechanics, and the content available. I know we brought it up a little bit earlier, but CCP's been adding a lot of extra content or required sites or required items to lowsec. I think they're trying to provide a reason for lowsec to exist other than to be an annoyance between highsec and nullsec.
Well, I'll give you my hot take on this if you're willing to indulge me for a minute.
Do you have a hot take alert? Oh wait, wrong show.
So my take on this with why CCP is so interested in raising the importance of lowsec is basically compression of the player base towards being closer to each other. No one's. It's not going to be a surprise to anyone that there's probably a lot of data out there saying that there's less people playing the game than there was before. That might be contentious, might not be backed up by data, right? But on the shop floor, kind of feels like that, right? And, by increasing the importance of lowsec, which is obviously towards the center of the map rather than the outside, CCP is kind of beginning to incentivize people to move to those areas where they will be closer to other people to increase the amount of player engagement between different groups in the game.
It's just lowsec is so hard to live in.
It's just so hard to in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because you have stations, which is nice, and you can't get bubbled in them, which is nice. So it has some benefits, but it's just the combat's so different there that you have to factor in a whole slew of other variables when trying to engage with people.
Which is good, right? It's good to have variety.
So I think the best option for Test is to move to Providence.
See, that's what I'm saying. You go there, you'll be close enough. We can have our little
No, Don. There's a simple reason behind this. Okay,
because everyone that goes to Providence dies.
No.
Oh, we can anchor those thoughts again that we took, right?
No. If PGL can do a great job as an Amar role player with those fucking Abaddons he lost in 3D.
You know, we've still got loads more Abaddons that we actually need to move. That's like sat in a low tech station somewhere.
I'll buy them for 50 mil a piece. Bet
50 mil a piece. What have you been smoking, Mike?
But Carmen, that's money in the bank instead of money bag or lost mail sitting there. Just
I'm certainly sure that Aerith can educate you on what a poor economic policy that would be if you were to adopt that stuff.
Okay. Better deal. Okay, we'll let Villy build his next faction Titan, and we won't shoot the CTO. How's that sound?
Villy's got nothing to do with us, man.
I forgot Villy stepped down.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like around leadership stuff anymore, but I believe he's still in the alliance. But he's functionally not around. He's there if you want to chat to him, but he's not involved in anything anymore.
Yeah, I got to dip. Peace.
All right, bye, Mike.
Cheers, Mike. Thanks.
I do have to start going soon.
I was gonna say we're not gonna stay too much longer per se, anyways.
Yeah, let's. Should we wind up? Maybe final thoughts. Kind of finish out. Maybe extended final thoughts.
Well, we never got to do our official. The rest of us.
Sell your raw calls before Friday is probably my advice.
That would be a terrible.
Sell your oracles in the next 12 hours. I'm starting the bidding. I will buy a fully fitted mining oracle for about 10 ISK.
I'll do 11 ISK.
I'll do 12.
Let's do our real predictions for tomorrow. And based upon the dev blogs, as well as comments from Villy and from Brisk, because Villy said on Tuesday that whatever's coming this week is not the end of it.
All right. Can I go first?
Stopping. Yeah, go ahead.
I think they're going to do away with Athenors and replace them with Roracles. So basically a Roracle will do everything that an Athenor does, and it will be mobile.
Interesting. Okay. And Carmen, you think it's what's the biggest one that you're going to pick out?
I think it'll be related mostly to, the resource anomalies and Nosec for the most part, and then there'll also be some stuff about the Roracle rebalances, I would presume.
So good.
I believe that either excavators will no longer work with Roracles, or the bonus that Roracles get to the drone mining yield, etc., will not apply to excavator drones. That excavator drones will be exclusive to Orcas, I believe, at a limit of 2 excavators per Orca. I also believe that
they don't have the bandwidth for it, sweetie.
I think they'll make that happen. But I also think that when it comes to putting resources back, they're not going to put a lot of they're not going to put things like normal ore back into moon mining. Like how it used to be, how you could get.
That'd be amazing, though.
While it would be great, but that would cause proliferation, I believe, at least in minerals. I also believe that the release in minerals will be slow, as to not fuck up any kind of market shit. Or I hope it is to not fuck up any market shit. I also believe the Roracle will be incredibly changed, as we all know. I think that it will not be a solo miner anymore. You won't be able to take a fleet of Roracles and mine a belt. I believe you'll need some capital support, and it will be for not boosting only, but it will have a reduction in how much it can actually mine. I also believe with the compression of gas, ice, and etc. and all that stuff, it's going to force Roracles to fit more into that role than mining themselves.
It would be very interesting, right? Given the the new industry requirements of building stuff like battleships and caps, right? It would be interesting if Roracles and excavators were kind of relegated to only being allowed to mine R4 and R8 goo from moons.
Oh my god!
But not any of the high-end stuff, because that's the thing is, right? You need a high volume of that stuff, right? And you kind of
no, you don't need a high volume of that stuff. You don't.
Okay, maybe I'm like dumb then, and I got it
The thing
wrong.
is like the R4s is like a medium amount for the capitals, and you can mine all of the R4 in high sec. So therefore, your
take on this is like much more accurate. It makes much more sense than what my take was. So I'll listen to you.
So my predictions are for the patch that they're going to announce is the moon ore and gas compression is going to be announced, since they already know that's what we know is going to happen, at least knock on wood. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be tomorrow. The other thing is I think they are going to remove the mining bonus completely from oracles and put them back to boosters. And I think that they are going to either increase the ore hold a little bit to 500,000, or they are going to, what was the other thing I thought? They're going to give it some way to increase its boost, one of the two. So their balance, quote unquote, of, oh, sorry, you can't sit here and mine with this giant ship, but we'll make you give slightly better boosts. And
I think that they will also, if not like on Friday, then at some point in the future, I think they will add a mining barge that is like specialized towards gas mining.
Yeah, because they don't have one, which is the funny part.
Yeah, it's just friggin' Spain, so.
And then the other prediction I have is that they're going to go. So if you've noticed a running theme, everything that CCP has been implementing has a negative feedback loop on whatever system it is. So the more you mine, the less there is available. Or so ratting. The more you rat, the less money per rat is available because of the DBS, right? And they're trying to encourage you to move around to keep the negative feedback loop lower. Mining is going to be the same thing. They're going to have these anomalies spawn, and the more you mine in a certain area, it's going to lower some superfluous number to make you have to go mine other places to help balance it around. And you're going to get pockets of this type of ore that will spawn here, but if the mining DBS whatever is too high, you won't be able to get the high-end ore, so you need to let it sit fallow for a while, blah blah blah. They're gonna make it tedious as fuck for no reason.
That's a really interesting idea.
Mark my words.
It's not. It's like, if you go back and look at like, the original, like, was it like a dev blog or something for Scarcity? Like, if you go back and look at like the day one, like, roadmap they put out for how it was all going to work, the third phase of it was dynamic distribution of resources. So, this makes total sense to me, what you're saying, Dawn. Like, I would be surprised if it's not that. I'd be surprised if there wasn't a changing distribution of resources based on how much you mine them and stuff like that.
I mean, it's been consistent because they did it with the ratting, with the DBS and the ESSs, and they've done it with these capital sites and their limitations of how many can happen at a time and by how many people. So they're trying to put hard caps so they can help control the flow of stuff coming in, so there's no unlimited amount. They love these negative feedback loops. And I'm pretty sure they're going to make another one.
We have a special guest, guys. Right? Hang on, we get a special
real quick,
guest.
Maniac just came in.
Yeah,
so Maniac,
Maniac,
do you have a prediction?
Voted one of the top 5 sexiest CEOs in all of New Eden.
Hi.
Hi.
Who are the other 5? Just out of pure, idle interest, who are the other 5? Or the other 4, sorry?
Well, John Hartley.
Sexy.
He's a CEO. John Hartley's pretty sexy. I assume Darkshines is a CEO. I don't know what he looks like, but he sounds sexy.
I'm the sexy for like the chubby lover girls or chubby chasers. That's who finds me attractive.
Yeah. So that's what, 3? No, that's 4 total.
Where does Merkel Chen fit on your list?
Oh, that's right. Merkel Chen is in there too. He's a CEO.
Yeah, he's up there. He's top 5, that's for sure.
He looks so good in his suit.
After the show tonight, after Theta Thursday, we should watch Rampage Inc. He's got a good show. He's got Brisk and
I'll put it on every now and then.
Yeah, it's fun watching him sit there and get progressively more shit faced.
Can't you do that raid thing on Twitch where you like send all of your
we do
stream or something?
Yeah, we do. Okay, so Maniac, do you have a prediction for what's coming tomorrow? Let me preface this with that. Did you watch what Brisk said earlier?
No, I missed it. What he said.
Okay, well, Brisk said, get your pitchforks ready or save your pitchforks for tomorrow.
No, my guess. You know how like supers have that like burst projector that they can do. So my guess is it's going to be like a gravity bomb, right? So you burst project into the middle of the asteroid field, and there's like a gravity well that brings all the asteroids together, and then they're going to give the Rorqual a mining boson. That's my projection.
Interesting.
I'm willing to make a bold prediction on this, and I'm even willing to put some money down on it if you guys are willing to endorse this bet, right?
Gambling is not endorsed by CCP, but continue. I will listen.
I am willing to make a bet for anyone in this channel who's willing to take the bet. I'll throw $1 billion ISK down on it, right? For what I'm about to say. I am willing to bet that no matter what the changes are that CCP make, they will manage to screw it up somehow.
I will take that bet that they will absolutely screw it up as well. I will take that bet $1 billion ISK for anyone who wants to go differently.
That's not how that works, friend.
No, sweetie. So you're saying he's betting $1 billion ISK that they'll fuck it up, and you're saying that no, they won't fuck it up.
No, I'm saying that they will fuck it up, and I'll put another billion on top.
Oh,
okay. I'll put another billion on top of it.
So you're doing a shared pot.
Yes.
Okay. So $1 billion, $1 billion, somebody's $2 billion.
I didn't sign up for this, but I'll take it. I'm in with Mufine.
Nice.
Isn't that how most things in this game goes?
I'm telling you.
I'm pretty sure no one's going to take this bet. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think anyone's going to take this bet. I'm pretty
Just
sure
remember,
because you're right.
The name of this quadrant, the New Dawn. So everything good and everything bad can be blamed on Dawn.
Right? Are you telling everyone a new leaf somehow? Is this like your new chapter?
I love to
it's the new mining,
but I do have to prepare for my flight tonight.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Let's move on to final thoughts.
All right. So final thoughts. Parman, since you are one of our impromptu guests, any final thoughts for the week?
My final thoughts are: it was very nice to be, invited to come on the show. Thank you very much for bringing me on. It's been good to chat to you all. I'm very excited looking forward to what the patch notes is going to be on Friday. Obviously everyone is going to be, awaiting that with bated breath. I personally think Rorqual is going to get nerfed pretty hard, but we'll see how it goes. It'll be exciting, but I don't think it's going to be any kind of like seismic change to the game, apart from people who are industrialists, of which there are of course, many.
Okay, Maniac, any basically first and final thoughts?
Nah, I hope it's my boson idea that they come out with tomorrow.
That would be amazing.
Greg, mining boson.
Any final thoughts?
I just wanted to bring up the fact that we have Eve Montreal, which is coming up in December. I can read a little bit off the thing for those people that didn't see it. Hang on.
Well, I'm going to cut in here and say that, if you're interested in going to these kind of events, you should definitely go to this stuff. I believe it was about a week ago now that the Eve London event was on, and I went to the Eve London event, and it was fabulous. Everyone who went there was just genuinely really friendly, really good to be around. Any kind of like adversarial attitude that people might have had in game, like almost everyone is very willing to just leave that out the door. It's a video game. Everyone's there to have fun. Meet people from the game. It's genuinely a great atmosphere to be around, and I've almost never seen anyone to not be willing to be inclusive of that environment. So if you're interested in going to one of these Eve meets, I could not recommend it in stronger terms than I am right now. It is fucking amazing.
Yeah, for sure. This was in Montreal on the North Shore, and it looks like it's December of this year, December 4th, and just have a look at the Goon Meets Discord, I think, for more information, and we'll also put it up on the Theta Thursday Discord in INN for those that want to check it out too.
And anyone that might be anxious about going to these meets, like I went and sat down at Eve London for like an hour, chatting with some dudes from the initiative, and I'm pretty sure that everyone in their entire alliance really despises me quite a lot, and they were all still pretty okay. So there's nothing to be worried about. Just go along.
Mifune, final thoughts.
I had to dedicate my final thought to something that happened today. Mr. Lowtax, the founder of the Something Awful forums, passed away today at the sad age of 45.
Oh.
He was a great guy, and an absolute staple of the internet for very, very, very long, and it's a very, very sad loss. So yeah, that's just my final thought. Like, I read that today and I was like, God damn, I can't believe that happened.
That's very thoughtful of you to call that out, and as with anyone else, right? Especially like the things that you see like on e-forums every now and then. Regardless of whether you like someone or not on the internet, any loss of life is just tragic, right? So yeah, very thoughtful for you to call that out.
All right. So my final thoughts this week are, I look forward to the messages tomorrow blaming me for whatever horribleness is happening. So it's fine. I'm ready and prepared. Bring it on, because I'll probably agree with you 99% of the time. And then there is the January Eve meet for the Rampage Incorporated. They are hosting an Eve meet in Washington, D.C. Yours truly, Donrea, shall be there. And I am going to be going to the museums. I want to see the World War II Memorial. I've never gotten to see that one yet. And I want to go to the archives because I haven't gotten to do that yet. So if you guys want to do some museum hopping with me and my dad, we will be there.
I put a link in Twitch chat there of Don's private email address.
Thank you.
Hold on. Who the fuck still uses Hotmail?
Did you really? Oh, okay.
What about the
Hotmail?
Hotmail? Comma.
I do actually have a Hotmail account because I made a lot of my emails.
Look,
when I was like.
No, don't defend it. Just
And
stop.
You
Like,
either-
no one's judging you, Dawn.
You
No
either
one's judging you. Just stop.
No, you either use Gmail or you use
Mafune, I
Outlook,
have
one or
two
the
Gmail
other.
accounts on top of my Hotmail, on top of my Yahoo. I have 4 emails I use on the regular for different things.
I have one thing to raise with you guys all before we leave. I don't know if you remember this, but there was a person in tests. They made what you could call a bet in not in bad faith, but a very a really dumb, stupid bet.
Oh,
they made
a bet with
with
what was
someone
it?
like
Dr.
you.
Mibbles. Dr. Mibbles. It was Sandra and Dr. Mibbles, right?
Do you remember what that bet was, Dawn?
Yeah, that he owes him like a hell.
Do you remember what the time frame was?
November.
Yeah, so it was like a 6-month time frame on this bet, and I do believe
But the war would be over
is,
in that 6-month time frame. So yeah.
I don't think that's what the bet was, because that would be very true if it was now. But I believe that the time frame for that bet is coming up. The time frame for the end of that bet is coming up to being due very, very soon here. And I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, right? I'm just
Sandra needs to uphold his end of the bet, or else he's a giant baby.
I mean, I'm not going to say who's right or wrong here, or who's involved in this, but if there's someone who made a bet and they, lost the bet and they didn't stand up to their end of it, I'd be very disappointed in them.
Yeah, pay up, you piece of shit.
Couldn't possibly comment who that was or what the bet was, but it sounds like you've got a pretty good idea.
I watch the channels.
All right. Well,
all right.
I hope y'all have a wonderful week. I do have to cut this week short because I have other things going on. But I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Watch out. Listen, do not give Brisk shit.
Yeah.
I'm watching you. If I find, I'm gonna message Brisk tomorrow, and I said, how many Discord DMs did you get this morning? And I swear to God, if it's over 1,000, I'm gonna murder the Eve community in game.
No, you're not.
In game.
Anyways,
in game.
In game, non-fatally.
Good night.
Thank you guys again for hosting me.
No problem.
See you guys next week.
Good night.
Bye.